as you guys all know, I'm a huge Star Trek fan, so let's just get on with this review. Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, I am here today to review Star Trek Beyond. Now, Star Trek Beyond comes from the director of Fast and Furious, that whole franchise, which as you guys know, I am not a fan of at all. So when I found out he was directing the next Star Trek, no, you're screwing up my Star Trek. I'm embarrassed, I'm upset, represent the Trek, you know, it's over. It's over. Franchise dead. Done. I had to walk out of the theater and say, I'm going to eat my words on that because this is probably one of not only the best movies of the year, but one of the best Star Trek films. Not the best, but one of the best. Our crew, they've been out on their mission for a little while, exploring space, and they're kind of getting into the a rut where it's the same routine every single day, and they're looking for something new. And so then someone needs help, and they go, and the crew ends up stranded, and it's all about getting back together, unifying, and ultimately saving a massive amount of people. Star Trek Beyond, as you could tell from the beginning, it's absolutely fantastic. I did not expect it to be. It was a very simple story. I mean, it is a straightforward, like, classic episode of Star Trek. And that is its strength, is because it felt like a classic episode. You could honestly see a version of this in the old show with Bill Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, and that was something I really liked, is it had that action adventure feel from the new Star Treks, but it was a thinking man's Star Trek again. It was the old school story driven Trek too. And it's a story that everyone can relate to. The crew chemistry was perfect in the film. And it's one of the reasons why I prefer Trek to Wars. I feel like the chemistry of the characters, of the crew, just feels so real to me. And that was really highlighted in here, particularly between Spock and Bones. They really were standouts in this film. And I also have to touch on the tragic passing of Anton Yelchin. He is absolutely an incredible actor, and he does a great job in this film, particularly acting with Chris Pine. And just every time you see him on screen, you can't help but just say, wow, that was one of the last times we'll see him. It has these tribute moments that honestly, it gets you a little bit, especially if you're a Trek fan, a little bit of the, oh, like that, it touches your heart. The visuals, beautiful. Justin Lin, he does an incredible job showing the visual effects of the Enterprise, particularly warp. I like the way he shows warp, because J.J. Abrams, it was kind of almost like lightning bolts and all of that, and like a tube. And this one, like Justin Lin made it, it's in the trailer, it looks kind of like a bubble, like it's warping space and time around him. I really liked seeing that. I don't know, it was just a cool visual. And honestly though, I have to say, the one mild complaint I have is Idris Elba was kind of a weak villain. In the third act, he becomes a great villain, but throughout most of it, he's kind of just a generic villain. I'd almost say more generic than Nero in the 2009 Star Trek. But he does what he can. I mean, ultimately, he's just the bad guy. I remember his name is Krall because I heard it a couple times and I had to think about it for a moment. I just knew him as Idris Elba's the bad guy. So he was a little bit lacking in the bad guy department, but when Idris Elba actually had something to do, he was great. That scene in the trailer where he's like, I'm counting on it, was great. And Idris Elba delivers a lot of those spots, but he's not Khan. That's really what I'm trying to get at. He isn't Khan in Star Trek Into Darkness. In the end, though, it still was an excellent ride. I mean, the characters were all funny, and it was not too over-the-top comedy, and then it would mix it with these really serious, like, discussions about life and mortality, and it made you think about how to appreciate life. And there were moments that my girlfriend and I were sitting in the theater like, yeah, that is actually a great point or a great question to just sort of speculate. And it made you think a little bit. And I liked that because Trek always sparked good ideas in terms of thought and theology. So that's really my best compliment for it. And all the other actors, of course, did great, but really my only complaint is I felt like the villain was a little bit underwhelming. But it still worked great, and it's a fantastic Trek movie. And the finale, that last third, is absolutely dynamic and epic and gripping, and it's a big blockbuster fun movie, and it reminds me of why I love going to the movies. And so it just brought that passion out in me. I recommend this at full price. So I have to say, Star Trek Beyond is big screen worthy. It's it's a fun movie that you can just sit back and get a smile on your face and enjoy the story, get gripped, and really just have a fun time. Another thing that, still, I guess, light spoiler alert here, is that they kind of tease that one of the bad guy things could maybe be a classic villain or an origin to a classic villain. That they kind of keep, they almost like tease it, at least in my opinion. They keep teasing something from the good old days, and you keep thinking they're gonna reveal it, and they never do, and it's not. And that kind of was a little bittersweet feeling, but honestly, the movie was so enjoyable. I walked out with a smile on my face and said, yeah, that was fun. I can't wait to see that again. And so it didn't affect the movie at all. So I'd still say go out, watch this film. If you're not a fan of Trek, you're going to get a fun adventure summer blockbuster. If you're a fan of Trek, you're going to get the Star Trek you fell in love with back in the day, and then you're going to get a little bit of new and some heightened energy in it. And I think he did a good job taking over from J.J. Abrams because he had big shoes to fill, and he honestly filled them. And it does have a little bit of a different style, but it works, and it still fits into this timeline perfectly with some touching moments. So please go see Star Trek Beyond. I hope you guys like it too. If not, let me know why. I'm curious to know. But don't forget to like and subscribe. Got plenty more videos to you. Love you guys.